Well, Human Rights Watch says Israel's largest banks are financing the construction of illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank. A new report accuses the banks of violating international law by partnering with developers to build homes on land that's been illegally seized from Palestinians. Now, those same banks also provide loans to home buyers in the settlements. Israeli banks don't offer these services to Palestinians because they're forbidden to enter the settlements except as laborers bearing special permits. Now, Human Rights Watch says banks should stop doing business in or with the settlements in order to abide by international law. For more, let's speak to journalist and author Gideon Levy. He joins me now live from Tel Aviv. Thanks so much for speaking to us. What do you make of this report? Is it exposing the obvious, really, given it's very difficult to build any housing development without loans from established banks?
Good morning, Human Rights Watch. I mean, I have a lot of respect to this organization, but to realize now that Israeli banks are invested in the settlement projects 50 years after they were established, I mean, it's quite ridiculous. You cannot separate anymore between Israel and the occupation, between Israel and the settlement project. The entire state of Israel, with all its financial institutions, is invested in the settlement project. You can't separate it. It's the banks, it's the industrial health services, it's everything. There are 700,000 Israelis living there, and they are part of Israel, and anyone who thinks that he can isolate them out of entire Israel is playing with himself.
Right. So, I mean, what should be the consequences then of this report, and what will be the consequences of this report?
The consequences should be that anyone who wants to struggle, to fight against the occupation, to raise his voice against the occupation, must aim it not at the settlements, but at the state of Israel, at the government of Israel, at the institutions of Israel. You cannot make this separation because it's totally artificial. It's not about the settlers, it's about those who send them there, and those who send them there, and those who finance them, those who protect them, and those who help them is the Israeli government.
But I mean, Israeli critics of this report say in its attempt to support the boycott movement by attacking the profile of Israeli banks. Is there at least some validity to that?
Anyone should draw his own conclusions. The matter of fact is that the Israeli banks are invested in the settlement project. One can be very happy about it, one can be very proud about it, and one can think that this is a reason to boycott the Israeli banks. It's up to anyone to decide what does he do with this information. But the fact that the banks are invested in the occupation, in the settlement project, is not a new fact, and it's not a surprising fact. Now everyone should draw his own conclusions out of it.
Okay. Gideon Levy, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for speaking to us on TRT World.